Welcome to the Tribune Scouting Report. I'm Jennifer Fierro here at the Faith Academy Field, home of the Flames. Last season, Faith Academy suffered only 2 losses. Unfortunately, they were to the eventual state champ, Bulverde Bracken, and of course to the state runner-up, Dallas the Covenant. Does that mean then that this season the Flames are preparing for a breakthrough season? We're going to find out when we ask head coach Russ Roberts and our expert Mark Earwood. All that and more coming up next. Welcome back. We want to thank you for joining us wherever and however you're able to. Join me on the set, Russ Roberts, the head coach of the Faith Academy Flames. Coach, thank you so much for joining us, especially after your practice on Tuesday morning as you're getting the Flames ready for the season opener against Killeen Memorial. How'd they look today?
We had a good workout. We worked hard and got a lot of things accomplished. We've still got a few things more yet we've got to be covered, but made a lot of headway this morning.
What has impressed you the most about your team as you think about the last few weeks? Y'all been going since August 1 here. Tell me some of the things that have stuck out for you. Well,
2 things primarily. First of all, the numbers, which is just a blessing. God's blessing us here at the Academy. We got 20 football players out, and hopefully we'll have 21 within the next week or 2. Secondly, the attitude. We've got good effort. We had went through preseason with almost no absences. Everybody was there for every workout. We've had a couple of things that have come up in the last few days, but they've been things that are unforeseeable. The attitude's been great. The effort's been there, and we're just trying to put together a good ball club.
Now, y'all are going to be traveling this week to Killeen Memorial to take on a Killeen team that, do you feel, is going to be a much improved team from the one you saw last season?
I feel it will be very much improved. Their junior high team was very solid last year. They had a couple of 8th graders that will move up to the high school this year. And, of course, in 6-man football and taps, with the limited numbers we have, a freshman can make a big difference in a hurry. And so I think they will be improved. It's going to be helpful for them to be at home because they've had to play us here at Faith for the last 2, maybe 3 years in a row because they didn't have a field. And they've just put together a field. And so we'll have to play them in their backyard, and that'll make things a little tougher for us, a little better for them. But I do expect them to be very much improved.
You have been in the midst of trying to decide on a starting quarterback. You've had 3 or 4 players who stepped up and tried to fill that role. Tell me a little bit about the quarterback battle and your thoughts the last several weeks.
Well, I'm not quite in the same position Mac Brown's in, and I also might say I don't think Mac's in quite a better situation as people make it act like. But I don't have to find a quarterback. I've got 3. I got 3 that can play. And if I need to, I'll play all 3 of them. We are doing some things this week that's really conducive to that. We're substituting by personnel groups. We don't substitute one player. We substitute a team, which goes in to run a certain set of plays. And the quarterback rotation works real well into that. But I think Jake Diamond and Zach Hayden and Hannah Shipley are all doing a good job. I'm totally convinced that all 3 will see action Friday night, and I think all 3 will do well.
What else can you tell me about your offense in terms of, we had talked last week a little bit about the fact that you wanted the guys to know the playbook better. Mm-hmm. Where are you in terms of that happening?
Well, we didn't have a real good offensive night against Cherokee. We threw the ball well. I was pleased at that. Our running game really didn't progress from our first scrimmage. And we went back and analyzed, looked at the film, looked what we were doing, looked at what we did last year, and then really I decided that probably we were trying to build this year's team with last year's pattern. And so we made some changes. That's what brought on the personnel groups. We've taken some wide receivers and moved them inside to running back, taken some running backs and moved them to wide receiver, and trying to get a little bit more heft on the field when we want to run the football, which I think will be helpful. We've got great speed, but sometimes that's asking a lot of those guys to make a block and hold a block. So we're going to try to shake some things up and be able to use that speed with carrying the football, and then you get some little bit bigger guys in there blocking.
You want to switch over to the other side of the ball, talk a little bit of defense. I don't think that six-man gets enough respect for the defense that it plays. What do you think?
Well, I'm sure it doesn't. Anytime you look in the newspaper on Saturday morning and you see, say, 34-24, and you think, well, nobody played defense. 24 points is not very many points for a six-man game, and so the defense doesn't get the recognition that they deserve, simply because points are going to be scored each and every week. But the key is the team that can make the stops, gain the turnovers, and make the crucial plays at the crucial time quite often is your defense. So they're extremely important to us, and probably spending more time on the defense this year than we did last year. We were trying to make some changes from last year. Right now, I don't think we're ready to make those. We've gone back to last year's defense system a little bit more than we were during the two scrimmages. But I think that'll help the kids because it'll be a little more familiar to them.
So in a nutshell then, y'all were able to get a big win over Killeen Memorial that set off this great winning streak, right? You only lost the 2 games to Dallas the Covenant and Bulverde Bracken. Walked in with a really good winning streak to Bulverde in let's see, week 9. I believe we played Bulverde week 9.
Bulverde was week 8.
Week 8.
Yeah.
Okay. This year, how big of a deal would it be to go into Killeen and get another win there?
Well, it's huge because we expect to win. Our expectations are there, and you want your expectations to be high. I would hate to think that people were looking for us to go over at Killeen and just play well and see what happens. That we want them to expect us to win. We want to expect to win, and anything else is going to be a downer. We want to you build a team by keeping the morale high, which keeps the intensity of your work level good. If the morale drops, then your intensity of your work level goes down and your productivity goes down. So, we've gotten the preseason out of the way, which is a very, very difficult time because there's not a lot of perks. It's all work. And now you're into the season where you got a game every Friday, and every time you gain a win, it's money in the bank. It's something that you can go back and you've got that build up that'll help you later. Okay.
All right, Coach. Thank you so much for the comments. We look forward to seeing you again next week when we hear more about the Flames. And coming up, we're going to stop in and visit with our expert, Mark Earwood.
Caring for you like family is not just our motto, it is our commitment to our patients. At Texas Hills Urgent Care Centers, our highly trained nurses, physicians, and staff know that your health and your family's health are important. With weekend and evening hours, Texas Hills Urgent Care Centers is here for all your family's health care needs, including treatment for illnesses, injuries, school and travel vaccinations, as well as many other services. Located on Highway 71 in Bee Cave and on Highway 281 in Marble Falls, convenient and professional medical care is just around the corner.
Welcome back. Joining me now is Mark Earwood, the administrator at Faith Academy, who is also the head football coach here for six-man. Coach, you have a love for six-man that, unless you really studied it, learned it, talked about the terminology, I don't know if you can ever really appreciate it. Would that be fair?
That's very fair. Six-man football is really more like what kids play in their backyard than it is the organized brand that you see in 11-man. So it's got a purity to it in my eyes, and I'd never been exposed to six-man until coming to Faith Academy, but now that we've been a part of it, I love it.
Now, you were able to guide the Flames to their best finish in school history a number of years ago when they actually played for a state championship. Do you see some of that in your 2011 team here?
You know, there's a lot of similar elements. One thing they have that we don't have is depth. They've got some quality depth. They're a young squad in spite of having the quality depth, and there's a lot of athleticism in that youth. So if I know that Coach Roberts is really hoping to see some of those younger guys really step up and fulfill their potential, but there is amazing potential in this group.
What always strikes me, not the number of seniors you have this year. I think they only have 3 seniors total. Mm-hmm. It's the number of juniors who are going to be asked to step up and play big roles, especially for the guys who've already left, like Randy Burton and Dylan Robichaux. How has the maturity in that development been over the last few weeks?
Well, we're seeing the younger guys really step up. I know Brian Freeman, Seth McAnally, Jason Bird, and Jake Diamond have all really stepped up their game. And I think they're really beginning to embrace the fact that they are upperclassmen. And when a kid starts to view himself as an upperclassman, that maturity and that confidence follows them out onto the field. And then you throw in some of the new kids that have come in, and you've got the nucleus of a very strong team made up of a solid core of upperclassmen.
Faith has been known for having some of the best quarterbacks in the area. Taylor Stowers, help me out, Coach. Taylor Stowers was one of the top guys, had all the quarterback records at one time.
That's right. Taylor had an amazing senior campaign, and he did set several records for the single season. But ironically, Ryan Roberts coming in right on his heels had real good statistics, and then Travis Roeder developed into a fine quarterback last year. So quarterbacking has been a pretty good strength for Faith Academy over the past several years, and I believe that Coach will find one of those younger guys to step in and really fill the role as well for this year's squad.
In 11-man, they say quarterback's the most important player on the field. Is that still true in 6-man?
I think it is, because the field generalship doesn't change. Whether it's 6-man or 11-man, the man calling the plays and that's reading the defense and that has to make the decisions on the fly doesn't change. It's still a quarterback position, and it's a vital one, even in the 6-man game, especially with Coach Roberts' offense that does an awful lot of reads and has a lot of motion going on. The quarterback position is vital.
On the other side of the ball is the defense. I always wonder, and I ask Coach this question when I ask you, do you think 6-man defenses get enough credit for how effective they have to be?
No, they don't get enough credit at all. I mean, when you see a score where the other team has put up 48 points, the first thing you think is the defense was horrible, but a 6-man coach would probably tell you the defense was superb. There is a school that I know of that their philosophy on defense is that if we can create one stop per quarter, we will win the football game.
Wow.
So they're talking about whether it's a punt or a turnover. If they create that one stop, they should win. And that tells you the level of prowess of the offenses, and how if you make an error on defense, it's probably going to turn into a big play. So for anyone to keep anybody down into the 20s or 30s in 6-man football, they've played superb defense. And I don't think defensives get enough credit.
Okay. Going into week 1, Coach had an incredible winning streak. I don't know if y'all were surprised by that or not. Were you surprised by it?
I was surprised by it. From the standpoint of us having a first-year coach who comes in with a totally new offense and defense, and really his first exposure to 6-man football. I think we knew that Coach was very similar to Jerry English, Steve McCannon, Michelle Stollard, some of the others that we've had in the various sports. We knew that he had expertise in that area, but his ability to be able to get that team to gel was something that I thought was amazing. And that win streak to start off the season was not smoke and mirrors. They beat some good teams. And I know when they played Kerrville, Our Lady of the Hills, they had to come back from a 20-point first quarter deficit in order to do so. So that was a pleasant surprise, but I think it also started instilling such confidence in the boys that is carried over to this year as well.
Okay. Well, Coach, we certainly appreciate it. Look forward to hearing more of your analysis throughout the season. And when we come back, I'm going to give you some closing thoughts.
Spring and summer in Texas call for outdoor grilling with friends and family. At Bill Smith Butane, we take care of your fuel needs. Refill your propane bottles at one of our convenient locations and save big money on regular exchange prices. Bill Smith Butane.
How big is the Killeen Memorial game? It's going to be huge, in particular because this was the game that started the Flames' winning streak last year. And even though they're still looking for a starting quarterback, I personally believe the guy who has the inside track is going to be Jake Diamond. While he may not start on Friday night against Killeen, expect to see him play quite a bit in that position. Also, I'm very, very curious to see what Jamie Graham, the new coach that Coach Roberts added to his staff this season, is going to come up with on the defensive side. So expect to see lots and lots of players in different spots. Expect to see whether or not these players know the playbook, and of course, expect to see a win. Next week, we're going to have more with Coach Roberts and Coach Earwood, and we look forward to seeing you then here on the Tribune Scouting Report.